So if you're not happy with how your life looks right now, your job, your career, your finances, your directions, then this video is for you. I don't think that books magically fix your life, but genuinely, these 5 books really did change how I think, decide, and act. Hi, I'm Zahra. I'm a medical doctor and entrepreneur, and I've read about 30 books over the last 6 months, mostly based on entrepreneurship, lifestyle, mindset. This all started at a point where I was at a crossroads in my career and wanted to just get some more advice, more proof in order to find the direction that I was looking for. The truth is that life is pretty volatile. There will be days where you have ups and downs, where you feel stagnated, where you feel motivated. And the truth is that a lot of that can be within your control. And so there's this idea called learned helplessness. So this concept was introduced by a psychologist named Martin Seligman. And basically what he says is that when people feel like they have no control, they stop trying, even if options exist. And so the opposite to this is something called an internal locus of control. And so this basically means people who believe their actions matter tend to be more resilient, healthier, and successful. And so this is where books come in. And so you're probably asking, how do books actually increase your sense of control? And so this is the amazing thing. Reading exposes you to new mental models. It gives you the language to articulate feelings you probably have, and it shows you proof that other people have rebuilt their lives. So studies and evidence really do show that reading improves your cognitive flexibility, your emotional regulation, and your long-term planning. Specifically, reading non-fiction books increases your self-efficacy. And this is essentially the belief that your actions really can change your outcomes. And so I'll give you my own example. About 8 months ago, I had my own little wobble when it came to my career, my trajectory in life, and what direction I was ultimately wanting to take in all aspects of my life. And I really do think this is where the purpose of vision boards become very helpful, because it helps you almost itemize what you would like your life to look like in 5 years' time. And when you're confused about this, it gets really hard to envision what you're wanting your life to look like, especially if you're feeling unhappy, stuck, or hopeless. Having some goal or vision that you're working towards really does change the game. These are 5 books that really did change my life. And so the first one, and I'm so glad that I came across it, was You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hayes. The core idea behind this is that thoughts influence your behavior, and your behavior ultimately influences your outcomes. If you've ever read this book, or if you know what I'm talking about, then you'll know that it's filled with a lot of affirmations. Affirmations are not magical wishes, but what it ultimately does is it changes your neural pathways and strengthens that so that it is ultimately something that you truly believe. And so science does back this up. This concept called neuroplasticity basically means that repeated thought patterns strengthen your neural pathways. And cognitive behavioral therapy actually works on the same principle. So as I mentioned, I don't think that affirmations are magical wishes, but it's something that I've introduced into my daily life because what it does mean is that it changes your thought process and it ultimately changes your mindset. Even on the days where I lack motivation, saying it to myself that, hey, there are opportunities everywhere, I can be successful, I am building a business, I am building a type of life that I want. Saying it in the present tense, saying it so that you believe it, even if you don't at the time, ultimately means that a repetition of what you want out of this life will bring it closer to you. And I can honestly say that I've been doing this for the last 6 months. It's also taught me how to be more bold in the spaces that I am wanting to grow and be successful in. Number 2, Millionaire Fastlane by M.J. DeMarco. This is an excellent book for anyone who is feeling stuck in their career, wanting to build wealth, wanting to build a different type of professional and financial life for themselves. And so the core idea behind this is that there are 3 financial paths that exist. The sidewalk. And so this is ultimately a life that is based on consumption. Anything you want, you have right now. You build up debt and you live off of instant gratification. The second is the slow lane. This is where you work 40 years in the same job and retire at the age of 65, thinking that saving and investing is ultimately going to get you to the life that you want or build you a life of wealth. And the third is the fast lane. The idea behind this is that you build systems that create value and have the ability to scale. It's an excellent book, but it was very uncomfortable to read because for our entire lives, we're supposed to follow a certain trajectory. Go to high school, go to university or college, graduate, get a job, work in that job for 40 years, and retire at the age of 60, 65, 70. And once you retire, you'll be able to live this very lavish life because you would be retiring well. I would highly recommend reading this book if you're at a crossroads in your career, in your financial life. He argues that whether you choose the slow lane or the fast lane, there's always risk involved. But for him, he feels that the upside of risk that you take in the fast lane far outweighs the upside in the slow lane. Number 3, $1 Million Weekend by Noah Kagan. An excellent, excellent book. The core idea behind this is that if you're building anything, you should just start now. Stop planning and start. I would highly recommend reading this book because it actually gives you practical step-by-step ways to start from zero and actually earn your first rand, your first dollar, whatever your currency may be. The book is brilliant because it works on psychological methods. And so basically what it comes down to is that actions reduces fear far more effectively than thinking. And that momentum builds confidence faster than knowledge. I can honestly say that I've read this book and I've used it and I've kept it on my bookshelf as a cheat sheet to go back to every single time. And so the way that I ultimately used the book was that I had an idea and I wanted to know how I went from idea to execution. And the book taught me everything step by step. But what you need to be okay with is the fear of rejection, fear of putting yourself out there, and ultimately the fear that somebody might comment, judge, or make fun of. But honestly, if you can get over that fear, the possibilities truly are endless. Number 4, Poverty Proof by Douglas Kruger. So the core idea behind this is that poverty is more related to a thinking pattern rather than just your income. He basically says that many professionals, even despite earning very well, still think in very small ways. It's a book that's based on the South African population. It's a South African author, and he ultimately weighs the balance between having a scarcity mindset versus an opportunity mindset. And so if you think about your bank balance, you can either frame that as, oh, I don't have enough, or you can frame it as, wow, there's so much here, there's so much that I can do with this. And so he even describes that people who are intelligent still sabotage their opportunities for wealth. And so ultimately the book is around controlling and changing your mindset around wealth and around opportunities to get there. And number 5 is The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. An absolutely excellent book for anyone who has not picked it up. I would highly recommend it. And the core idea behind this is that we need to stop trying to control people. We need to let them judge, let them leave, let them misunderstand. It's an incredible book because it ultimately shows you how to relinquish the power that other people have over you. But on the flip side, also being able to take back your own control and say, even if somebody is doing this to me, my response is to do this instead because I have no control over what they do, how they think, how they feel, but I do have control over what I do think and feel. It's an excellent book. At some point in the book, if you ever pick it up and read it, she has a section where she shows images of people who have tattooed "let them" all over their body. If you decide to start a business or write a book or open up a studio to do cooking classes or travel the world and leave your job or decide to become a monk, whatever it is that you are wanting to do, it's this idea that don't give your power, the control that you have to somebody else. If they judge, let them. If they say something, let them. It shouldn't stop you from doing what you want and from allowing yourself to achieve the things that you want in this life. These 5 books have been an excellent find, and I'd highly recommend you get them, you read them, you listen to them on an audiobook. They really did help me change the way that I think about health, wealth, and relationships. They gave me so much clarity and ultimately so much control over the life that I was building. And so it helped me make a very intentional decision about the career that I was wanting. It helped me ultimately start a business. It helped me start a YouTube channel. It helped me grow on social media platforms and actually learn to put myself out there. I will admit to you that none of this has been easy. These barriers that we have for ourselves are usually mental barriers, mental obstacles. I've had the opportunity to meet amazing people over the last 6 to 8 months, people that I would never have dreamt of ever meeting. And it was ultimately because of a mindset change. And it was ultimately because of books that I read that gave me a certain level of confidence to know that I could go out and do this. And what I will say is that ultimately being able to build a very intentional life, not that I have it right now, but it's ultimately a life that I'm working towards, meant that I have protected time for family, for friends, for my dog. I protect time for exercise, for sleep, for good nutrition. I protect time for creativity and learning. There's this very important idea between creation and consumption. And what it talks about is ultimately that we've now moved into a world where we consume far more than what we create. We consume by doom scrolling, we consume by binge watching, we often consume very passively, and what research actually shows is that this increases anxiety and dissatisfaction. Whereas creating, whether you're writing a book, you're journaling, you're filming videos, you're doing photography, making art, actually increases your dopamine in a far more sustainable way. Reading books definitely is consumption, but the consumption ultimately resulted in more creative activities. And so now I journal, I meditate, I'm learning how to play the guitar, I am building a business. all of those things are creative activities that challenge your mind in a very different way. These books, truly, they did not change my life overnight. It took consistent change in micro habits and daily habits, but it started with one book and it ultimately resulted in a ripple effect and a snowball effect. So if you were anything like me 6 months ago, I would highly recommend picking up the first book. Pick the one that resonates with you the most and just start there. And if you're wanting to read more but truly can't find the time, then you'll love my other video that talks about how to read one book a week. If you've liked this video and you'd like to see more, my latest video is up here and you can always subscribe to my channel.